It is Wednesday, August 31st, 2022. This is another edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, the baseball knowledgeable Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Rob along for the way as well. Can you believe it's the last day of August?
I can, dude. August felt like it was 8 years long, dude. August,
Really?
why is it always like that with August, man? I actually feel bad for the month itself because people always
No,
call it the dog days. Kids
no,
got to go
only
back to
baseball
school.
players. Only baseball players do. Usually it races through the month because kids are like, oh my God, this is my last few weeks of freedom before that hell that they call school.
Oh, we just took our kids' iPads away. They've been having them for, a little bit of time each day, but we took them away completely and they
Right.
have changed. People, let me tell you, if your kids are on the iPads doing some Roblox, all that stuff, just take it away.
Yeah. Good
Yeah.
parenting. Last night, Mets Dodgers, game one of that series, a whole lot of fun. We're going to be talking about it in detail coming up. But the headliner undoubtedly was Timmy Trumpet was there, taking in his first baseball game. He got to hang out with Edwin Diaz, and I was sitting there. I was like, oh my God, Mets, you better have the lead in the ninth so this guy could play, the Diaz or the Contreras walk-up song, depending on if you're a Mets or Braves fan, in person. And it didn't happen. But he did
Mm-mm.
give us this little taste. All right, so I heard that. What?
It's beautiful. That's a
Beautiful.
great rendition right there.
Amazing. Sounds so crisp with a trumpet
Doesn't
vibe.
it? I think
Yeah,
the trumpet's the way to go for that song.
I'm with you. I think a lot of trumpeters are turning in their resumes today to the 30 major league teams. However, I was a little disappointed that Buck didn't at least bring Diaz in. I know there was no save situation or even a tie game going into extras or whatever, but didn't he owe it to us fans?
No, he didn't owe it to anyone. And this is like, we talk about a little bit of bulletin board material. I mean, you're the Dodgers, you're coming in. You don't really think about a series as being big. Dave Roberts didn't manage it last night as being big,
No.
but they still go in and get the W because you know what? I'm sure they all want to hear Timmy Trumpets. Great song. I want to see Edwin Diaz come out of the bullpen too. But like to be the team that says you flew all the way from where Australia and you think you're going to come on this field and play and bring the closer in, no chance. The Dodgers were not going to let that happen. Gavin Lux was not going to let that happen. But I do like Timmy
um,
Trumpet. Like he was speaking before the game with Diaz. Dude, this guy is a star.
great. He was awesome. He just went, his Q rating went through the roof in the baseball world yesterday. And he said, listen, I'm going to stick around another day. It was smart because somebody said, hey, we've got Jacob DeGrom going tomorrow. There's a way, but now if it's 8-1 tonight, and if Buck does not put Diaz in the game, that's going to piss me off.
What do you mean 8-1? Like the Mets up 8-1?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, you better talk to Buck because I don't think Buck manages like that.
Yeah. He better. He better tonight. But our first big topic is the fact that the Dodgers won not only the series opener, but became the first team to win 90 games this year. So if you're doing a little math, over their last 34, they just have to go 500 to set a franchise record for most wins in a single season. If they go 27-7, they will set a single season MLB record. Why haven't we made a bigger deal about this?
Because we have Dodgers fatigue, essentially. I mean, they've just been doing this for so long, Chris. When they win the NL West this year, they'll have won it 9 of the last 10 years. The only time they didn't win it was last year, and they won 106 fucking games, dude. This team, this organization is crazy. They've won 100 games, or in 2020, they had a 100-game pace, 100-game win pace, 4 out of the last 5 years. Okay, this is
Amazing.
what they do. This is what they do. And we've just got used to it. And we have, the Mets franchise, a proud franchise coming out and basically saying we're trying to model the Dodgers franchise. Like they're in a class above everybody else right now. There's some organizations that are catching up. I think the Braves and the Astros are kind of right there with them. or getting to that point. But right now, I mean, the Dodgers are they're on a different level. They've figured some things out. They've gotten lucky. They do have the resources. There's no doubt about that. But Friedman has come in and used the hand that was dealt him and created the monster, basically.
Well, I have a slightly different skew on this one.
Okay.
Who won the World Series last year?
The Atlanta Braves.
Who won it the year before?
The Dodgers.
Yeah. Who won it in 2019? Do you remember that one?
Oh man, now you're really.
I know this isn't your thing.
2019, who won it?
Washington, right?
Oh, the Nationals. Yeah, they beat Houston.
Yeah. So you remember that, right?
2018.
Okay, but you can just stop there. Just stop
not
at
the Red
2019 for a second. Who won the most games in 2019?
Dodgers.
No. You have no idea, right?
I don't know.
Right.
Come on. Get to your point, bro. What do you got?
My point is that we don't ever remember who won the most games in a single season, but I sure as hell remember who won the whole thing. So the point is that we don't, the regular season record when it comes to team accomplishments is great. It's really cool. It's wonderful. If you don't lift that trophy at the end of the year, it don't matter. That's why. It doesn't have to do with Dodger fatigue. It has to do with the fact that they haven't completed the job because they haven't been given the opportunity yet this year. Now, if they set the record for the most wins, if they get 117 wins and they end up winning it all, then we're talking about best team ever. Then it's a whole different discussion. But nobody gives a shit like the Patriots. They went undefeated. They went all the way until they lost to the Giants in Super Bowl 42.
I disagree with you.
Wow, really?
Did you not listen to the stats I just freaking talked about? They've won the NL West 9 of the last 10 years, okay? You're a Guardians fan. You're a Guardians fan.
Yes.
Okay. How much would you love the Guardians to have won the Central 9 out of the last 10 years? I understand what you're saying. They've got one World Series title to show for it. But if you're a Dodgers fan, you know going into the season, you're in good hands. You're going to go see a very, very good baseball team play. It means something across the league. That's why we're not talking about enough, because we're just used to the Dodgers being this way. If this was a one-off thing, we'd probably be talking about it a little bit more, like we were talking about the Giants last year. Remember that when they won 107?
Yeah.
And we couldn't stop talking about it because it doesn't happen that often. We're like, holy shit. The Dodgers
have
just
lost.
lulled us. They've lulled us to sleep, dude, because they're so good year in and year out that we've come now and we got guys like you saying, if you don't win a World Series, who gives a shit about the regular season? I don't believe that's true, Chris.
I personally don't, but I think I can give credit to fantastic seasons. I really can. I thought the Giants run was freaking unbelievable. But most people won't give them credit because they didn't win the whole thing. I think most people look at it and say, hey, this isn't kindergarten class. You don't get a participation trophy. You all get
That's not a participation trophy. Because you can't look. I don't like that notion that it's World Series or your season's a failure. That's bullshit, dude. It's so hard to win a World Series.
Themselves, yes, and this is the hardest sport to do it in. This is far and away the hardest sport to do it in my opinion. But I think that the bar has been set so high for some. And this is only a handful.
You're just proving my point. That's what I said. They've done this to themselves, dude. By winning so much year in and year out. It's not anybody else. They've done it to themselves.
So the Seattle Mariners of 01, who currently have 116 wins, and that's
still talk about that season. They didn't win the World Series.
Yes, exactly. But we talk about it because they didn't win the World Series. We don't talk about it because of 116 wins. We always talk about it. Well, absolutely. They didn't even make the World Series that year.
We still talk about that season every single year. We talk about that
because
season.
They didn't win the World Series. That's why we talk about it.
If they won the World Series, we wouldn't talk about the regular season when they won 116
Yes, we would.
games.
We would talk about them possibly being the best team ever. That's why we talk about them. That's why we would talk about them. I'm just telling you. I don't see it that way because I have your perspective on it. I'm telling you why I think people have a different perspective on it. Is that fair?
Sure. Dodgers are just a damn good organization, and when they win 100 games, no one blinks an eye anymore.
All right. We got to move
And let's
on.
be honest,
Or
the
else
NL West is not exactly like the best division this year, too.
No, but we thought it was going to be.
We thought it was going to be. It just hasn't turned out that way. Although the
Right.
Diamondbacks are hot. Let's go
They're
D-backs.
smoking hot. We'll get to them in a second. But let's stick with the American League here. You had Cleveland, Minnesota, Tampa, Seattle, Toronto, all won last night. True or false? Seattle is the biggest threat to crash the party in the ALCS that is already planned for the Astros and Yankees.
I think they are like slightly above everybody else. So I will say true. I think your Guardians are probably right behind the Jays. I would go Seattle, Jays, Guardians, Twins. And I rank that, you know how I rank my teams essentially. Like, how can we pare our starting pitching down? What do our bullpens look like? I think the Mariners have just more of a complete roster than those other teams. I think the Blue Jays are really, really close. Don't sleep on these Blue Jays, man. They haven't even gotten hot yet this year. If they get hot at the right time, look out. But I like what Seattle can do. You know, they have 6 starters. They'll probably pare it down to 4, put a couple of those guys in the bullpen. We know what their bullpen has been like. So I like the Julio factor. I will say the Mariners are the biggest threat to get to the LCS. As long as they don't have to play Houston, because they don't play well against Houston.
You know, one team you didn't even mention?
My Twins? Orioles?
Tampa.
Oh, yeah. I was supposed to. Tampa would go, I would slot them. This McClanahan news, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, brings them down a little bit. I'd put them on par with the Guardians. I'd still go Seattle, Jays, Guardians, Rays, Minnesota. Sorry, Minnesota.
So I picked Toronto to beat the Mets preseason in the World Series. And since they're both in it very much, I'll stick with that. But I would slide Toronto down a few pegs. Something's missing. I don't know what it is. I watch them a lot, and I sit here and I scratch my head, and I look at their rotation. I'm like, it's good enough. And Romano at the back end of the bullpen has been really lights out. I look at their lineup, and you're like, God, they just seem awesome, and they're not. Something is missing. I don't know what it is. I think they still have time to discover it because they're not like the White Sox where it's just like taking on water left and right.
White Sox are dead.
So, yeah, that's not a today topic, but man, they'll be in the top 5 topics somewhere this week. So I would go Seattle. Yes, I think it is true because I think the addition of Luis Castillo has just lengthened that rotation beyond belief. Robbie Ray has kind of rediscovered himself now. Logan Gilbert is excellent. Marco Gonzalez has had a solid year. And that bullpen, you talked about the bullpen. Now, it's not as good as the Guardians. The Guardians bullpen, I don't think has given up a run in over 2 weeks. So I would rank it Seattle, Cleveland slightly behind them because they don't have the pop that you need in the playoffs to consistently get like a 3-run homer. That's the only thing that scares me about my team. I would put Tampa, then I'd put Toronto, then I'd put Minnesota. But I am willing to flip it over the last 5 weeks. I think
of course you are.
I think the AL playoff race is going to be terrific. It's going to be so much fun. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. That CSG, it is an expert and impartial third-party authentication and grading service for sports cards. And Plouffe, you are a big sports card buff, correct?
Yes.
All right. So it's all about the grading and it's all about the protection. So after grading, sports cards are actually encapsulated in an archival, durable, and crystal clear CSG holders that protect and preserve. And I hope you have a few of these things that they sent you, Plouffe, because it's going to help your collection, right?
I didn't get sent anything.
We've got to work on this.
Got to work on that.
Every CSG certified sports card, it's backed by the CSG guarantee of authenticity and grade, which is the strongest in the industry. In fact, collectors know they can buy and sell with peace of mind when a card is in a CSG holder because its authenticity and condition are guaranteed. As CSG consistently has the best turnaround times and pricing among the leading third-party sports card grading services. And this is important, the timing aspect, because you said you found other services that it just takes forever. CSG is on point. That's a big deal, right?
Yeah, very big deal. I got something to tell you right now. This just happened, okay? A 1952 Mickey Mantle card this dude had.
Yep.
sold for $12.6 million. The only reason it sold for $12.6 million is because it was taken care of and it was graded. And once it's in one of those, graded holders, it's good to go. Protect your investment.
So here's the deal. I want you to go to csgcards.com right now. Use the promo code today. You're going to get $15 off your yearly membership. So we want you to protect your investment and get money off. csgcards.com. Code word is today, $15 off of your yearly membership. All right. Couple of great pitching performances last night. Framber Valdez just continues to wow the world. 22 straight quality starts for the Houston left-hander. In the meantime, Zach Gallen, 7 shutty against the Philadelphia Phillies last night. He has been unscored upon in his last 34 1/3 innings. Which run is more impressive for you?
Both very impressive. I love both of these pitchers. That Gallen has, like you said, been nearly unhittable over his last 5 starts, 34 1/3 innings pitched. He's given up 13 hits, 7 walks. Okay. So 20 people have reached base in 116 batters faced.
Wow.
That's wild. But I'm going Framber because he's my guy. And this streak has been going on since April 25th. He's 14-4. And you get those wins, which, we don't care enough about wins anymore because they're circumstantial. But like when you're giving your team a chance to win, like he's going 6 innings pitched with 3 earned runs or less, you're going to get those wins. So 14-4 is his record. His team in those starts, 19-6. Like when you have a guy that is going to get into the 6, shorten the game, and I think it's great for them in these wins now during the regular season. It's great for Framber to put up these numbers. But what this really does, Chris, over that long season, he's saving bullpen arms. He's saving those innings in your bullpen, and now they're going to be just that much more fresh during the playoff run. Oh, they're not even in a playoff run.
No.
During the playoffs. Framber's done that. So I'll go with Framber. 22 straight consecutive freaking quality starts.
By the way, that's just 2 off of Jacob deGrom's single season record. So that's something to keep your eye on over the last month of the baseball season. I guess here's where I struggle with this. As great as it's been, can I give it over Gallen? Because what Gallen's is pure dominance. I mean, if you're unscored upon in 5 straight starts or whatever it's been, that's unbelievable. Whereas it looks like Framber's, we're talking about a quality start. So that's 6 innings, 3 earned runs or less. And sometimes that's not dominance. That's just remarkable consistency, which is really applauded in this sport as well. So I don't know. I mean, I think that if you go unscored upon this many times, that's a hell of a run. Only Brandon Webb has a longer streak in Diamondbacks history.
These are both incredible accomplishments. I think just the longer run of that being that consistent, and I think I got the team total wrong. I think it's actually 16-6 in those starts, not 19-6.
Oh, okay.
Bad math,
wow.
bad math guy.
Whatever.
I don't know. I just, as a position player, when you have a guy in the hill that is going to get into the 6th inning and give you a chance to win the game, it's just an incredible feeling.
Can we talk about the trade that happened several years ago between the Cardinals and the Marlins?
Yeah.
Marcell Ozuna to St. Louis for Zach Gallen, Sandy Alcantara. Is that incredible?
That's incredible.
And then people are wondering, well, wait, what did the Marlins turn around for Gallen? They ended up getting Jazz Chisholm. So it still worked out pretty well. But could you imagine having Alcantara and Gallen at the top of that rotation?
We did this at one point. My last year in AAA, I think it was 2018. I was with the Texas Rangers, and my first series was a 5-game set against whoever the Cardinals AAA team was. And the talent on that team, when you went and looked back on it, it was incredible. Randy Arozarena was there too. All these guys were there. Go back and look at the 2018. I think it's the Memphis Redbirds. Go look at that roster. It is insane. And I crushed that pitching, by the way. I might have faced Sandy. I don't freaking know.
Wow. I think he would have remembered Sandy just because of how.
I got to go. After this, let's go back and look. We'll talk about it on a different day.
Yeah. By the way, if the Marlins still had Gallen, they still wouldn't be able to hit. They'd only average a little 2.5 runs a game or whatever they do.
They got pitching. They got pitching.
They have playoff caliber pitching is what they've got in the rotation. Bullpen's a little bit all over the place, as usual. All right, yesterday, kind of a fun game between the A's and the Nats. That was one of those games. I like to say if it was happening in my backyard, I don't think I'd walk outside and watch it. That's one of those games. But I did have it on. It was like on my 8 box for the MLB package, and it's kind of fun. And the Washington camera crews caught this adorable little kid. I don't know if it was a foul ball, a home run ball, whatever it was. And Pops is like talking to him. He doesn't look like he's older than 6, maybe? Maybe?
Dude, I think he's
6.
young. I think he's like 5. Yeah.
Okay. And so he ends up like walking around trying to give the ball away. First, he walks over to this couple, and this woman's like, no, I don't want it. I don't want to give it to somebody else. And he keeps working his way down and finally giving it to this adorable little girl who's like, oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Stud of the century here? Or do we think that dad kind of coaxed him into giving a ball away?
I'm thinking the situation was maybe he had another ball already. So this was number 2.
Okay.
Because if dad is making you give up your only ball, that's tough tickets right there. But I think this might have been his second ball. What I was impressed with was the fact that he just kept going through the stands. Like he had no fear.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, all right, you don't want it. Okay, I'll just go over here. Oh, you don't want it. Okay. Like he just kept walking, dude.
Yeah.
Usually kids that age are like terrified to leave their parents' side, but this dude was on a mission. And the little girl was cute. I think she even gave it a little kiss and put it in the bag. Like,
yeah.
Baseballs, man. People love getting baseballs. More sports should just give out, the ball. Like during football games, they should just throw a few footballs in the stand, see what happens.
Well, there was a Monday night game a couple decades ago in Chicago where a dude at Soldier Field, there's like a huge area behind one of the goalposts where the teams walk out of the tunnels. And on like an extra point, dude jumped midair and caught the ball, and then fell into like the tunnel area. It
doesn't happen very often. A few times, like, a receiver will catch a touchdown and throw the ball into the stands.
Yeah.
It needs to happen. It needs to happen more often. Why not? I mean, dude, people get so happy when they get a baseball, and it's such like a rare thing to get one at a game. But if you're a player or on the team, you know how many baseballs are all just lying around, dude. There's so many.
There you go.
Is that it right there?
There you go.
Oh,
look at that. Is that crazy?
Did he get to keep it? He probably got thrown out of the stadium.
I think he did eventually. I think he did get to keep it because they were like, man, what a play. Oh, Packers-Bears Monday night, huh? Look at that play.
This is a baseball show. I know you have. I know you have football today with CJ Uzama, who's great. I listened to it. You guys are great together. I'm still jealous. I don't
be jealous.
Love that this is
Part
happening, but I know it's good for you.
That might have been actually in. Yeah, I guess it was. at Soldier Field. They played a couple of years or a year at University of Illinois because they were redoing Soldier Field. So I can't tell if this was at the College Stadium or at Soldier Field, but whatever.
Okay.
All right. It's great. By the way, look at the dude's hair. He's got in a ponytail and everything. Oh, man. Good luck. All right. What do you have coming up on John Boy Media?
Our midweek episode of Talking Baseball is out, I think, already, or it's going to come out any second on our YouTube page. A good discussion. We go over some topics. We talk about Manfred and Carew. We talk about rookies that are going to come up and help the September race, which is a really fun conversation. And then we explored like kind of what's going on with the MLBPA and helping unionize the minor leagues. So we kind of dove into that. Little bit of labor pod. People love that. But yeah, go check that out. That's out today. You?
Latest episode of the Rose Rotation is out with Miguel Rojas. He's awesome. Helps me do a little shopping. That was very fun. I know Michelle Rose was all over that part of the show. And I recorded an episode, speaking of Rojas, with Josh Rojas of the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like the first. He's one of the, I think He's one of two players that grew up in Arizona as a lifelong Diamondbacks fan that has now played for the team. Kind of fun.
I like it. They're a fun
Yeah,
team
he's
to
a
watch
good-
right now. They just caught
They
the
are fun.
Giants.
I know. We talked
They want
about
to
that.
what they want to do is they want to get to 500 and above.
Yeah.
That should be their goal. They've caught the Giants now. Fuck that goal. I said that was their goal before. Get to 500 or above.
Yeah. We talk about kind of where they are as a franchise and all that sort of stuff. We talk about Mad Bum and his demeanor. We talk about the opportunity to play at home, how crazy his trade story. He got traded from the Astros to the Diamondbacks in the Zach Greinke deal a few years ago. It's wild how the whole thing unfolded. Really crazy. So that's a good episode that'll be coming out tomorrow. And
Awesome.
don't forget to check out the first ever edition of the football show. Chris Rose and CJ Uzama.
What's it? Is it not called Football Today?
It's not called Football Today.
Chris Rose Football Show.
Yeah. With CJ Uzama.
Yes.
So there you go.
Can't call it Football Today if you don't do it every day.
That is correct. That's the whole idea of baseball today, because why?
Do it every day, Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, 11:30 Eastern.
And if you want to join us live, you can do that by downloading the AMP app on your iPhone. You can join part of the discussion. So for our amazing producer, Robbie Scirocco, the one and only Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you Thursday on Baseball Today.